Creator Weekly Live for May 19th, 2024. I'm Peggy Kay, and today the main topic is all these generative AI updates that Google announced at Google I/O this week. Google I/O is Google's big developer conference. This is where they announce new features, new apps, and really the theme this week was stick AI and everything. I'm curious what folks think of that. Are you excited? Will you use these tools, or does it just kind of seem like it's overhyped? One of the things that people mention is that a lot of the things that Google talked about this week sound very much like what they've always been doing, but now it's got this sort of AI gloss to it to make it sound more exciting. I don't know. Let's get started. First of all, I wanted to bring up a totally non-AI related feature. Neil Mohan, who is the CEO of YouTube, wrote an op-ed for The Hollywood Reporter saying that the Emmy Awards should include YouTube content. So, the Emmy Awards, especially the daytime Emmy Awards, soap operas and news shows and talk shows and all these different types of TV content, but why not include content that's on YouTube as well and the work that YouTubers do? So that's something to think about. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should YouTube channels and shows and creators be eligible for Emmys? So I wanted to just mention that as sort of a thing to think about that is not AI generated, but really it's all about AI. In the comments, Jolyn says, your go-to AI now is Perplexity AI. Is that Claude? I'm I'm not good at keeping all these straight. But there are a lot of alternatives to Google's Gemini and OpenAI, and there's a bunch of other options out there. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is search. Let me just take 1 second to talk about search. Let's see. Sorry, I'm being a little disorganized today. I'm using Restream today, and there's a brand new interface. Of course, I'm totally confused. So, and the first thing that I wanted to talk about is Google using AI in search. This, of course, is Google's bread and butter. They are a search company, ads in search, their source of revenue. What they are doing is turning on the AI overview in search for everyone in the US. Is this a good thing? I personally am not that fond of it. I think it only does a so-so job, but here it is. And the thing to know is there's no way to turn it off. So the first thing I really wanted to talk about is what this means if you have your own website and you're hoping people will do a search and find it. This is a sample search. Whoops. This is a sample search. It was looking for, I said, what are flowers native to the San Francisco Bay Area? And what you can see, hopefully, is that the top of the screen is filled with the AI overview. It shows part of it if it's long, and then you have to click Show More, and you can get more information. And then at the bottom, there are cards for sites that it referenced. It's not clear if these are the only sites that it referenced or the best sites, who knows. So you look at this, and then you see a bunch of other stuff in the search results. So the question is, if people get this AI overview, and that answers their question, is there any reason for them to actually click the websites that are the source of this information? And I think that is the huge question for people who have blogs or informational websites. If you're selling things, maybe you're in a better place because people have to open the site to purchase. But what is this going to do with someone who, for example, has a website that catalogs native wildflowers, and Google just pulls out all the information and shows it? Are people ever going to visit the actual website? Google says, according to their numbers, more people visit the websites from the AI overview than from the list of sites. I suspect there's some caveats with that. I don't know what they were measuring, so it'd be nice if that were true, but I'm not sure. I also wanted to point out another new feature today. There's all this stuff in the Google search results now. But what if you just want to find a good website? There is a brand new filter option called Web. This may be behind the three-dot menu icon with more options. They said they would surface it when it seems like a good time to surface it. So it's there on desktop and mobile. And if you click Web, you just get a list of links. So to me, this is like a huge update this week, because sometimes I am looking for a web page, not an AR overview, not all of this extra stuff. So if you're just looking for links, you can click that web filter. That's one of my favorite updates this week, which shows maybe how boring I am. So that is the big update this week. If you have a website, you should also check out the Google Search Central page about AI overviews and your website, how Google actually gets that information, and how to prevent your content from appearing in AI overviews. If you don't want it there, you can turn off Google's use of snippets from your website. This, again, is not clear if this would be good for your website or bad for your website. I suspect that if you turn off snippets, you may not get as many views because that doesn't show a little preview in the search results. There's not much you can do. So I think on a philosophical level, this really breaks this sort of agreement between Google and website owners. Mark says, hopefully Google will give impressions more ranking rate to make up for the clicks lost. Maybe, we'll see. But even if it's just impressions, I mean, if people aren't clicking into the website, it doesn't matter how many impressions there are. It's one of those things where website owners, including myself, it's okay for Google to go through and index it and basically, scrape this information, because in return, our sites are shown in the search results and people then can find them and visit them. But this AI overview kind of breaks that because they make the AI overview. There's no reason to view the site. We'll see where this all goes, but it's not great. All right, so that was just one of the updates. There's a bunch of other neat features I want to mention. And the next thing is in Google Photos. And what you see in Google Photos, this is a demo of something called Ask Photos. It's basically a chat bot inside Google Photos, and you can ask it to find photos using natural language. So the demo that they show is you can ask it, oh, show me the best photo I took every time I visited a national park. And so the AI system goes through and understands what you're looking for. And because this is optimized for Google Photos, it knows to figure out what's in your photos as well, which is the best photo and so forth. Now, will this be a useful tool? It's not clear. This doesn't actually exist yet in a way that you can try it. All of the images in the announcement say it's subject to change. This is obviously something Google is still working on. I thought it was really interesting, though. I read the blog from John Knack. John Knack, if you know, he used to be the head of Google Plus Photos, I believe, and then Google Photos. So he knows how these systems work. He was there when they launched Google Photos as a separate standalone product. And he is skeptical about this conversational search. I thought it was really interesting. He says, 10 years ago, I walked into the Google Photos team expecting normal humans to do things like, say, show me the best pictures of my grandkids. I immediately felt like a fool. Something like 97% of daily users don't search, preferring to simply launch the app and scroll forever. So I thought that was really interesting. Now, of course, search is better than it used to be, but I think, will people actually get into using a chatbot inside of Google Photos to do these kind of complex searches, or will people just go to their album and pick out a photo that they like? Again, a lot of this feels very much like Google sticking these AI tools in everything. It's sort of like the functionality looking for a purpose. Chef says, all good things are subject to change. Yeah, that is definitely true, especially with Google. Who knows what things will look like a year from now? So I wanted to mention also, John Knack says, what he imagines is a real assistant experience that suggests a bunch of useful tasks with which it can assist, such as gathering up photos to make birthday cards or holiday cards. And that's the kind of thing that would be really useful. And I'm thinking, so much of what is not that exciting about these announcements is that what we're looking for is a real assistant, something you can just ask to do stuff. And that's not what we have yet. Instead, we've got these kind of chats and it can kind of do things. So maybe it's too early for these to be real assistants. Again, we'll see what happens over the next year or so. But Google is also putting in exciting things. So I'm going to talk a little bit first about some cool, more cutting edge technology, and then I'll finish up with the more practical tools that are for Google Workspace. I wanted to mention, first of all, that there is a new video model. This does text to video, and it's called VO. Now, VO really looks pretty incredible. You can make these beautiful high resolution videos, text to video. They say that they've actually improved it. One thing that you see with generative AI video is a lot of times there's like weird changes that happen during a scene or switching between scenes. They say that this doesn't happen so often. It looks smooth, it looks consistent, it looks pretty neat. This model is supposedly eventually going to be available in the YouTube Shorts editor for creating things. They did not say when, so I assume not that soon. The thing I wanted to suggest, though, is that you check out AI Test Kitchen. Now, this is aitestkitchen.withgoogle.com. This is where you can try some of the experimental tools for video, images, and text. The video tool is not available yet. There's a wait list. So if you go to look at their option for video, you will see that you can sign up for the waiting list. Oops. And it's called Video FX. And go to the Video FX site, join the wait list. If you need the link, you can check out my weekly blog post or newsletter. It's got all the links and more information, plus more updates that I don't have time to talk about today. The other thing that's neat is a new image model. So this is text to image. It's called Imagen 3. And yes, there were previous versions of this. This is supposed to be an improvement, better quality videos, better quality images. You can see some examples on their website. That looks great. It's supposed to be better at understanding prompts. It's supposed to have higher quality images. And one thing that I think is really good is better text rendering. One of the things that you'll notice if you use text to image generators, if you want the image to include text, it's often just something text-like. It's not real text. It's not even real letters sometimes. So what they're saying is that this new model is much better at actually rendering text. And you can see you could even make something that looks like a comic or a building with text on it. It looks really good in the examples. Again, you can go to AI Test Kitchen, and they do have the option to try their earlier models. You have to join the wait list for Imagen 3. But again, this is the way to test Google's latest AI models for generating images and generating video. Okay, I'm going to switch gears again. Let me check my time. Time flies by. There's a lot of information here. If you use Google Gemini directly, one of the things that they're talking about is new extensions for Gemini. Now, an extension allows Gemini to have access to your own content and some third-party content. This is the Gemini extensions page. Currently, you can have it access flights and hotels, but what I want to mention specifically is you can have it check Google Maps, YouTube, and Google Workspace. This is all current now. These are not the new things. The new things are access to Keep, Tasks, and Google Calendar, which will be really useful. And they said YouTube Music. So there will be new extensions coming. I don't know the timeline on that. But that makes Gemini or the Gemini app much more useful. The other thing, of course, that they mentioned is AI updates in Google Workspace. Now, this is the sort of, you might say, boring stuff. It's not exciting. It's not exciting to have something that summarizes your text, but it's useful. I think these are really useful tools. If you want to try them, you should sign up for Google Workspace Labs. If you sign up for those, with your free personal Google account, you can try these new Google Workspace tools. Otherwise, you have to have a paying account. For personal accounts, there is an AI premium account. It comes with Google One, so it's like 2 terabytes of storage data, some other Google One features, and access to the advanced AI features. But you can try them for free if you sign up for Workspace Labs. And just wanted to have a quick overview of what the new features are. Let's So this is a bit of from the announcement. One of the things that Google is doing is putting AI chat, Gemini access on the sidebar. So if you're in Google Docs, Google Drive, Slides, Calendar, so forth, you'll know that there is a sidebar where you can access other tools. So for example, if you're in Gmail, you can open the sidebar and you can access your calendar or maps or other things. What they're doing is adding the AI access on the sidebar. And so what they are showing here is, let's see if I can blow that up, is Gemini in the Gmail side panel providing information from a file in Google Drive. So this is, the idea is, this is integrated across your Google Workspace apps, and so you can use it anywhere to access anything. If you're in Gmail, you open this up on the side panel, and you can get information from your Google Docs, that sort of thing. It sounds like it will be really useful. And there are some additional features that they announced, including the ability to summarize long email threads. And that will be available both on desktop and in the Gmail mobile app, which is really, really useful. And it also talked about more complex things that it can do. For example, the big example that they used is you can have this chat Gemini find all your emails with a particular kind of attachment. Let's say it's receipts. and this is limited to certain kinds of attachments, including receipts. So you have it find all your emails that have a receipt attached. All of those attachments, you can have them put in a particular Google Drive folder, and then you can have it extract the information from these attachments and put it in a Google Sheet spreadsheet. This sounds really useful, right? Where you can use the AI tools to better access your own data, your own files. You can organize them, you can extract information, you can get summaries, and then, of course, you can also use the tools to help you write in Google Docs and in Gmail. They are changing it so that you can not only have short, smart replies, but you can also have it write almost full-on emails. These are the tools that the generative AI bots are pretty good at doing. So this is what you will have access to if you have Google Workspace Labs over the next couple months. Some of these features are going to be available in the next few weeks. Others, it will take longer. But if you want to try them, oh, I should have switched caption. Apologies. Here's the link to sign up for Google Workspace Labs. This may only be available in the US or selected countries. A lot of these features are limited to English. I think most of the folks here probably have access to them. But sign up for Google Workspace Labs if you want to try these new features. So my question for you all is, are you excited about these changes? Are these features that you use, or is it just all pretty boring? I kind of feel like this is more of what Google was doing anyway, with a new glossy coat of AI on top. What I really want is a true assistant. Now, they are working on something called Project RF for Android, where it's more of an assistant. I think there's also glasses, and you can have it look at stuff and tell you what it is. I don't understand why that is always the go-to feature for so many of these AI hardware assistant things. Look at something and it will tell you, oh yes, that's a particular building or a certain kind of plant or something like that. That's sort of a gee whiz thing, not something I would actually use every day. All right. So those are the things I wanted to talk about. OpenAI also had a big announcement this week. Chat, you can now use GPT-4o. This is their latest. Let me quickly remove these QR codes. All right. So GPT-4o is OpenAI's latest model. It can do chatting things. One of the interesting things it does is like voice chatting. And there's kind of a weirdness to it because they chose this sort of very feminine, giggly voice. It's supposed to show emotion and so forth, even though it doesn't actually have emotions. So that's all kind of a little weird. The nice thing is this new model, you can access it for free. There is some sort of limit to how much you can do, but Yeah, it's not that exciting to me anyway. So those are the updates for this week. I am going to Austin, Texas this week. It's the Google Product Expert meetup. It's a regional one. I'm really excited to go. So next week, I may be wearing a cowboy hat. I don't know. The other thing I wanted to mention really quickly is that the weekly OnEBoardChat starts immediately after this. I'm hosting a discussion about short video. There will be a poll on my channel. You can check that on the community tab, or you can head over to X, where I will post it from my personal profile. Thank you so much for joining me today. Jillian says, bon voyage. Thank you very much. It's going to be really hot, and I'm not looking forward to that, but I will manage. So that's this week's updates. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see all of you next week. Until then, have